In this section, I'll just give some final thoughts. Let's talk about how to create your HTTP API contract, documentation, and tooling. OpenAPI is a specification, and it is basically a JSON or YAML document that allows you to describe what your service's contract looks like. Then OpenAPI used to be called Swagger, and there's a Swagger website that has a Swagger editor on it, a visualizer, and code generation tools that you can use to help create this contract and to validate it. Now for Microsoft Azure services, we have our own tool called AutoRest that does code generation. And this tool is an enhancement or has extensions on top of OpenAPI to support some Microsoft-specific features. For example, earlier in this course, I talked about extensible enums, and that is a feature that AutoRest provides. It's not a feature that regular OpenAPI or Swagger provides. And then, of course, you want to have some experienced set of developers review your API and look at the contract. If you're on an Azure service team, you want to contact the Azure API stewardship team and have people on that team go and review this. On this slide, I talk about the things that are typically checked during a review of an HTTP API. The first thing is checked is, does the API match a customer's expectation of HTTP APIs in general? That is, are the URLs properly formed? Is the API, does it do idempotency correctly? Does it handle atomicity correctly? Is the JSON well formed? Is the casing proper? Are you returning the right status codes from different errors that are occurring? Or do you have patterns in place properly to handle things like paging of enumerating over collections or long-running operations and so on? We want to make sure that your API adheres to the company's guidelines and is consistency with other services that are provided by the company. Your company's services should look like a holistic developer platform and not a bunch of different services offered by different teams. Is the service, an API, sustainable over time? The API has to be able to grow and version over time without breaking customer applications. This requires a lot of energy and forethought when you're making version 1 of the service. Also, you want to think about the client libraries and how changes of the service might affect client libraries in various languages too. And then, of course, any changes that you make will impact samples, documentation, third-party libraries, videos, blog posts about your service that are part of the ecosystem at large. Anything that would lead to reliability or performance problems is something that is also looked at, and your API is being reviewed. We want to make sure that the customer has a great experience when using your service, and we want to minimize customer support costs. So we like customers to be able to fix things that they discover on their own without having to get your company's customer support team involved. And finally, an API can't cause more work for other teams. Sometimes the API is not ideal, and then they say to the SDK team, here, why don't you just put a good API on top of this? Or the documentation team, you have to write much more documentation now because our API wasn't designed well. This is not appropriate. The service team has to do a really good job, and they can't say, we don't have time to fix this, we need to ship now, and create more work for other teams. And if you follow all of this, then your service should be a great experience for customers, and it should be a great experience in perpetuity over time. Here's wishing you the best of luck with creating your service APIs and having them run and increasing your customer base.